Well, hello again. I just made a video talking about how I haven't made a video in a while and talking about feeling kind of stuck creatively, not really knowing what to do. And I said, maybe I'll make another video sometime talking about more of the regular life circumstances surrounding that. And I guess I'm just going to do that right now, immediately after, although I'll probably put this video out later on, or I don't fucking know. So this one's going to be called something like "Just Gotta Keep Trying." That's a little memo I wrote in my video ideas list of something to talk about. So here's been the life circumstance that's been kind of getting me down and getting me off making videos. If you follow this at all, a lot of what I've talked about recently is going back as far as October of last year. Is I put in an application for a teaching program in Japan, which is something that I have wanted to do for a long time and just felt kind of like really. So I'm trying to figure out if I'm allowed to walk over here. What if these things say anything? And they don't say anything that means anything to me. So anyway, something I've been wanting to do for a long time. Had been generally very anxious and kind of scared and doubtful of it, and just kind of like waiting until I felt ready. Surprisingly, to no one, that didn't make sense, but you know what I mean. Came as a surprise to no one. That of course I never felt ready, but I applied anyway, just to this one program, with the intent to apply to some other ones. That didn't work out. I just applied to my first choice, and the way that that application worked, it was a very, very long turnaround time. I applied initially in October, and I didn't hear back about getting an interview, which is like the next stage, until February of this year, so several months later. And it was kind of like a long and arduous application, and I just felt kind of burnt out just from doing that. And there was a long waiting period, had an interview, waited several more months, and then at the beginning of last month, beginning of April, we got the results in. I applied with my partner and a friend of ours, and none of us were accepted. And I was on, or I still am, I'm on a wait list for it. So it's kind of like potentially could still get the job if other people drop out or whatever, which is a definite possibility, but there's not really a good way of knowing the chances of that. So, or the timeline of that could happen, any day now, or it could be until the end of the year, that's as long as the period lasts. So I'm basically back in this long waiting period, but instead of knowing that like results one way or the other will come out at a certain time, there's no guarantee of ever hearing anything. So I'm staying hopeful, I'm staying positive about that. But in the meantime, I have just started applying to a bunch of other programs. And that's been kind of annoying, because the application I did was definitely like far more intensive as far as like the work you have to put into it, and like all the documentation and writing and all the shit you have to do, than all of these other ones. So what I kind of wish I had done is just applied to everything kind of all at once and just kind of seeing what would happen. But the reason I didn't do that is because all these other programs have a faster turnaround time, and they have more start dates over the year instead of just one time, one time every year. So I wanted to kind of put you know, shoot my shot on my first choice, and then if that didn't happen, apply to some other ones, because I didn't want to get accepted to something else and then say turn it down because I'm waiting for the one that I wanted more. But then then the rejections come around, and I'm just like, what the fuck did I do for I don't even know how long, 9 months, something like that. And now I just feel like I'm back where I started, putting in applications just to start the whole process over again at a bunch of different places. So that's just kind of annoying. And I'm not really sure. I did everything I did for a reason. It's just kind of annoying to like basically put all your eggs in one basket. And then, that doesn't work out. So then you're back to square one. At this point, I kind of wish I had just applied to everything all at once, and who knows, I could have just gotten another job more easily at another program and already, been off, living and working there already. So whatever, you can't really plan. You just do the best decisions you can make at the time. So that's what I've been doing. That I've been pretty busy with that. Have gotten a lot of stuff applied for these other programs, and I feel kind of like going back and forth between feeling really down about the whole situation and just kind of like bummed out and kind of helpless, and then feeling kind of going the other way and just like kind of like willing myself into a better mood about it, I guess, and just having faith in the process, and being positive, and just knowing something good will come for me sooner than later, and kind of flip-flopping between those two a lot. My goal, kind of mindset wise, is just to you can't always help feeling bad about something or just regretful, but you can practice just being positive about it, and prolonging each time you're back on the positive track, and just kind of staying there for a little bit longer. So instead of feeling bad 90% of the time and hopeful 10% of the time, I just like improve the ratio as I go. And right now I've been kind of like just practicing that mindset. Once I feel myself feeling down about it, it's just improving that ratio. And right now I kind of feel like I feel pretty good about just all of it. In general, like most of the time, probably 85% of the time, I feel pretty good. And then once in a while, I feel a little bit more down about it, but it doesn't feel too final. If you're always feeling bad about something, it kind of just feels like that's where you live, just in this bad feeling place, which is true, I guess, because that is where you're living most of the time. But when you're feeling positive about it, then you have little slips into feeling down. It doesn't feel too serious, and it just kind of feels like, oh, well, I'm feeling down right now in this moment, but I don't feel down overall. So the fact that I'm feeling down isn't like this crushing despair like it used to be. It's more just like, oh, this kind of sucks, and I'd rather feel good about it, but I don't right now, and that's fine. And I'm probably just gonna like do something else and get my mind off it. And I know that I feel, kind of, very hopeful and positive about it overall. So it's nice to have that kind of overall mindset, which I didn't really have initially. Just kind of like, it doesn't really matter to me that much if I'm feeling down, aside from just like the general discomfort of like kind of losing hope and doubting things. It's not an enjoyable experience, of course, but it is nice just to kind of fall back on that overall kind of overall kind of backbone of hope. So I know I'll just get back on it soon. So that's where I've been at with all this for a while. It's been kind of all consuming in a lot of ways. But I've gotten a lot of applications out and staying positive, and all these other ones are moving. I'm getting like responses from these companies, and I'm moving to next steps at a lot of them. I've only, just now finished applying to several of them, and I'm already getting some interview invitations, which is just like a really far cry from this last program where it's just so much waiting and just not hearing anything. But that's just how that one operates. And I didn't know how these other ones operated. So it's really nice just to, I just decided I'm hoping to, still get that initial job offer, which is still on the table, but I don't want to just wait for it. I want to just keep moving and put these other applications in, and maybe I'll, which has been kind of annoying just to like have to do all of the work of applying to all this stuff, and then like doing more interviews and researching other companies, and just kind of all like the logistical hassle of it. It is just kind of annoying, and it would be easier just to get my initial job and just have them call me and say, hey, we have a spot for you. But knowing that is still a definite possibility while still starting all these other applications has been really good for me. Because instead of just kind of feeling like I'm just waiting and I'm not doing anything, I feel like I'm making progress. And in a way, I feel like I'm making progress on this first job, the one that I'm waiting on. I feel like my hat's gonna blow off. Yeah, I think I just gotta take it off. I feel like doing these other applications it makes me feel like I'm making progress on the one that I'm literally just waiting on. There's nothing I can do for that. But, just kind of like when you're stuck on a problem and there's nothing you can really do about it, and then you just do some other stuff and you like work on some other things, and then that stuff starts moving, and then the first thing starts moving because you're not so like focused on it. That's what's been happening with all that, which has been nice, and it just makes me feel even more hopeful because now I have all these other options and I got other stuff moving. There's still nothing definite. Nothing's really changed as far as that. I have nothing definite at all, but just the fact that I'm working on this stuff makes me feel really good about it. So anyway, that's a long video just to say that's been the kind of life circumstances surrounding why I haven't really been very prolific on making these videos. Not that it really matters. If I had like a regular audience or something like that, I would feel more pressure just to kind of keep up with it. But that is kind of the benefit of just making stuff for nobody, is that it doesn't really matter if I like stop doing it or restart doing it. I'm not like letting anybody down by it. I would kind of, that's kind of the pitfall of having a following of any kind is you have people kind of like waiting on you in a way, or expecting things of you. So that is kind of nice just to not have that at all. That's a positive of just making stuff into the void. All right, well, I think I've said the same thing 100 times as usual, so that'll be all.